Hey, I'm Courtney Brooke, and this is Hustle for Happiness podcast. We are all on this journey to find happiness, and let's face it, it takes work. And honestly, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. This podcast is dedicated to helping you navigate life and cut through the noise. As a certified life coach, recovering perfectionist, and survivor of the foster care system, I'm all about keeping things real. With my unique outlook on life that is truly infectious, we cover everything from achieving happiness and optimal self-care to stories of those sharing their wisdom and expertise. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Now, let's get started. All right. Hey, friends, I am so excited to share this interview that can really help so many of us on our wellness journeys, including myself and specifically with alcohol. My guest today is Salia, who overcame eczema through holistic living and now creates these awesome non-alcoholic functional mocktails. Originally from San Diego, Salia struggled with stress-induced eczema for years until embarking on her own health journey focused on clean beauty, eco-conscious living, and understanding how external and internal factors impact wellness. And during COVID, her eczema flared up again, inspiring her to develop beverages that support holistic well-being. Through years of vetting ingredient sources and supplement brands, Salia crafts her mocktails using thoughtfully selected organic herbs and superfoods shown to boost mood, reduce cortisol, balance hormones, and care for our skin from within. I mean, who doesn't want clear skin? Her recipes are designed to give a similar body buzz to alcohol at 0 to 0.5 ABV, elevating the sobriety experience through functional benefits. Salia's mission with Holistic Cocktails is to share about a better way to opt for sobriety, really one that supports both short and long-term health, empowering others to care for mind, body, and spirit naturally through the beverage choices. I think we can all relate to dealing with stress, hormones, or skin issues at some point in our lives, or we just know somebody who's struggling in those ways as well. This chat gives practical tips for things we can add to our daily routines to feel better naturally, whether it's certain herbs before a big presentation or collagen in your morning coffee, or small changes can really make a big difference. Salia also talks about vetting supplements, which is just so helpful since labels can be really confusing. Now you'll feel confident putting your money towards big brands that really care about ingredients. And if you ever want to socialize without the booze, these mocktails are perfect. And not only that, but they taste good. You'll leave with recipes to treat yourself with friends and to just have something yummy that also benefits your body. I hope listening inspires you on your wellness journey. Holistic living doesn't need to be complicated. Just start with what feels manageable. This interview proves how achievable it is to care for your whole self through lifestyle. Enjoy today's episode. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you
truly
so much
appreciate it.
for
I
having
feel
me.
like we've been working for months when I found you on Instagram to get you on this podcast and to share your knowledge. And so before we get into that specifically, will you share with everyone just your background and who you are and just bring us into your lens of life?
Yeah, absolutely. So hi, everybody. I'm Salia from Holistic Cocktails. So I am the mixologist and founder behind Holistic Cocktails. So what Holistic Cocktails actually is it's bridging the gap between non-alcoholic beverages and the wellness space. And it's opting for sobriety in a way that's actually taking care of your mind and your body. I feel like when it comes to sobriety, a lot of us opt for juices and sodas and things like that, which are great alternatives, but there's an even better way to do it.
Yeah.
And I feel like finding that alternative to not only elevate your experience through sobriety, but also having a benefit for you as well with adaptogens and nootropics and different herbs that can actually help with your mental health and your stress and your hormones are an even better benefit for you.
Yeah, so like I'm hearing like this, and for those just tuning in, it's a mixologist. When I think of mixologist, oh, you must be a bartender, right? Or you must be, right? And so I think explaining explain or elaborate on, what it makes a mixologist specifically with holistic cocktails? What are you doing? Paint that picture for us and for us, those that are new to even what a holistic cocktail is.
So, holistic cocktails is basically bringing all these healthy aspects into one beverage. So, that would be typically a sparkling water, as well as some herbs and different nootropics into the drink. And so it's mixing all these different products into one drink that actually has the benefit. So I like to call holistic cocktails a functional mocktail. So a functional mocktail is a drink that actually has benefits for you. So it gives a similar body buzz to alcohol, but without the actual booze. And so it still gives the feeling of having like an elevated emotion or an elevated feeling within your body, but without altering your cognition and instead helping your mentality. It literally boosts your mood and it decreases stress in your body.
Wow. And this buzz or the benefits, I guess when I think of alcohol, I think of, that's why I have that drink, right? Or not just to have that floaty, that buzz, but you're saying that there is a way healthily to do this without harming your body, but benefiting at the same time.
Yeah. Exactly.
What are some of those benefits look like? Like, what are some of those things? We've talked about this before, like you mentioned skin, your gut. Like, what other benefits can you be doing to your body while creating these drinks?
So yeah, skin and gut are a huge aspect because with alcohol is dehydrating to your body. So it will in turn dehydrate your skin for your gut microbiome.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It really does a number on your gut. But the main thing is like your hormone health. For hormones, especially for women, depending on the certain herbs that you put in it, it will help balance your hormones. And so it'll decrease your cortisol levels, which I know we all need.
Alcohol does this.
So alcohol spikes your cortisol.
Okay, so alcohol spikes your cortisol. Yes, depletes your skin. I mean, and so you're saying when you can create these drinks and there's these benefits when you mix.
Yeah. And so instead of all of these negative downsides of alcohol, there is a way to make a functional mocktail actually have the adverse effect of alcohol. So it can benefit your skin. It can help diversify your gut microbiome. It can help with your mood. It can regulate your hormones. It can decrease your cortisol levels. So it has so many different benefits for our body that we just don't realize. And I think that that's kind of the main mission behind Holistic Cocktails is sharing about a better alternative, not just opting out of alcohol, but actually having an actual longevity effect for us. So it has the shorthand benefit of, giving you a body buzz and elevating your mood and being something that you can enjoy socially. But over time, the more that you have it, it also helps with all these long-term benefits as well.
That's cool. So how did you reverse? How did you even get into this? Because I'm thinking, yes, this sounds great. And for those tuning in, it's like, where do you even start? Like where, how do you begin? So I think I asked you two questions. How did you get into this? And then where can one start? So let's go back to you. Is how did you even start and get into this? Because I love this approach because I see these non-alcoholic drinks and I'm like, they're full of crap. Like they're full of fake ingredients. And so I'm like, what's worse, the alcohol or these non-alcoholic drinks? Because to me, I see it on an equal playing level of like, I'm still putting bad stuff in my body.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure other people have thought the same thing that like, when I do have a drink, it's very intentional, but I always don't want to have a drink. And then those non-alcoholic options are full of just additives.
Yeah, exactly. So, I actually started off because it started with my health journey. So I used to have really bad eczema for a long time.
Okay.
Then I got into clean beauty. And then after that, I got into like eco-conscious home design. And so I started learning about contact dermatitis. And so after I learned about those things and what I was putting outside my body and inside my body, my eczema went away. And I was so thrilled about that. And then
congrats. That's a big thing. That's a big journey too.
Oh, absolutely. But through that process, I learned how to vet companies very well. And I learned about different health aspects and what ingredients does what and how it affects the body. Then COVID happened and, we're all stuck inside.
Yes.
No outside world, basically. And my eczema came back in full force.
Was it because of the stress on COVID for you?
Yeah.
So you saw the flare. COVID did that. You brought it back.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
for me, I was kind of shocked because, I went through this whole process of dealing with everything outwardly to heal
Mm.
my eczema to find out that there was also internal things that I needed to work on as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, well, alcohol, I know that everybody was drinking a lot during COVID. I'm not much of a big drinker, but I did want to have a way to add more herbs and supplements into my system that
Yeah.
help support my hormones and my mood. And, obviously things like meditation and journaling and things like that
Yeah.
help.
Yes.
But I also wanted to support my body on a physical level as well.
Yeah.
And so I figured if I could combine having a beverage with adding in these supplements and herbs and things like that into the drink, it'll just make it in a more enjoyable way to have these drinks on a regular basis.
Yeah. And I've struggled with acne and, there's only so many lasers or skincare products I can use, but our bodies tell us when we see it on the outside, like your eczema or like my acne, something's going on internally.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a two-sided approach. You did the home stuff too, the clean beauty, but I'd love to pick your brain on like home cleaning and stuff like that, because it's environmental as much as it is the environment inside of our bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think that too, it's when you take a look at what you're putting in and on your body on a regular basis really makes a big difference. And I have this approach of, when it comes to our mindset affects our physical just as much as our physical affects our mindset. And I think that that's a big thing that not a lot of people understand. And so I was
let's explain that.
So it's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg, is a systemic thing that you're dealing with. Is it because of a mindset issue that you're dealing with, whether it's trapped trauma or high cortisol levels because you don't deal with stress properly? Or is it the opposite, where it is these things that are in your physical environment, like your drinks that you're drinking or high
social
sugars,
media.
Social media, or like your skincare, are certain chemicals in those causing an imbalance in your system where it's altering and it's passing your blood-brain barrier to alter your mindset.
Wow.
And so that's why I said, if you can work on all of these things at your own pace and on your own journey, then it really makes a big difference on where you can go with your life.
And so for specifically you saw your eczema as an internal thing. How did you, this is an offshoot, but I also think it is, I'm super big on mindset. How did you approach that?
So that one, at first, I went the physical route because I realized that mine usually stemmed from contact dermatitis. So if I was putting on skincare that didn't agree with me, I would break out in eczema hives. Or if I had my bedding was polyester, which is plastic, and I was using regular detergents, which are full of fragrances and things like that.
So you really audited everything in your life.
Yeah.
And I think that is so, as a society, when someone puts something on the shelf, we think it should be safe for us.
Yeah.
And so questioning that whole, if we kept it simple, is you question everything you knew in your life.
Yeah.
Everything you knew to live healthier. You knew that there was something.
Yeah. And I think with that, it came down to, do I trust these products are actually for my benefit, or is it for the benefit of the company putting money in their pocket? And so that's why.
Are they looking out for me? Or right.
And so there's a quote that says, vote with your dollar. And so if I'm going to put my money into something, I want to make sure that it's good for me, that it's good for the environment, that it's good for the community, and not just for the benefit of the company. Yeah. And so that's another reason why I love doing Holistic Cocktails, is because I'm vetting these companies that I love their mission. I love the founders and their ingredients and their sourcing and all these amazing things that they're doing, where it's an incredible product and more people need to know about it because they actually do have a mission of helping people.
Right. And it's trusted versus just these big dollar sign companies. So walk us through vetting. If I wanted to start creating these cocktails, and we'll go into ingredients in a second, because I would love to know what helps with skin, because I have skin problems, or, I'd love to pick your brain on that. But for those listening, share with us, how do you vet? How do you know like, just walk us through what you would do or where you even started with vetting these clean companies, these trusted companies.
Yeah. So I would say that if I'm at a grocery store, because that's where most of us start.
Yeah.
If I'm at a grocery store and I'm looking at products, and for example, if I'm looking at a beverage and I'm seeing what's in their ingredients, I look at how much sugar is in their product. If it is monk fruit sugar, if it is cane sugar, if it is stevia, I typically stay away from stevia personally.
Really?
Because it causes issues with fertility if you have too much. And a lot of products have a lot of stevia in it, especially for the health and wellness realm. And so if I cut back in as much products that have stevia as much as possible, then it really helps.
What would you reach for? And what would be a good replacement for someone? Because I would like to have a family. I probably have stevia in my diet. You know, like, we don't know these things. It's in pretty packaging. It's probably green, which makes me feel like, oh, they're conscious, like health conscious. Obviously, they do this on purpose. But so stevia, okay. What would you reach for instead then?
If a product has monk fruit sugar, there is a brand that I really love. It is Cura Life. They have sparkling teas that are sweetened with apple juice. Which I think is an amazing alternative. There's so many different alternatives to that. And if a product does have cane sugar, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. As long as it's organic. And so I try to
organic.
I try to stick with as much organic products as possible because that way I know that they're not sprayed with heavy pesticides.
More conscientious, at least.
Yeah, exactly. And then after I look at their sugar content, I look at their flavoring. Is it artificial flavors or is it natural flavors?
And so what are some examples of artificial flavors for someone that, you know, reading, like, there could be someone listening right now and I'm learning is what are some artificial ingredients that I probably don't even know about, you know?
So it will literally say artificial flavoring.
What about natural flavoring?
So natural flavoring, this one gets tough because
or natural flavors.
This one is tough because I think this has to go through vetting with the company. And that's why it can be hard.
So that's your next step is once you look at the ingredients, then you look at the quality of the company or the credibility of this company.
And so with natural flavoring, it can either be a proprietary blend of juices and extracts, which are great. And I understand as a proprietary company, and especially as a smaller company, when it comes to these more organic brands, they're trying to make sure that larger companies are not stealing their products or their recipes. So that is why they put it under the natural flavoring ingredient.
Interesting.
So that way companies can't say like, hey, I want to recreate this product.
Interesting.
And
they're
here's
protecting.
So that is why I understand natural flavoring. But at the same time, there are some companies where their natural flavoring is coming from a flavor house, or they put in and slide in preservatives under the natural flavoring label. And so that's where I think that finding companies that are either vetted by somebody that you trust to go through them, or if they don't say natural flavors at all and they just list it out, or, you know, talking with the company if you can and just asking like, what are your natural flavors made of? That really helps.
So I think like there's this intentionality piece I'm super big on in my life, but it can be a daunting process, but it doesn't have to be, which is one of the reasons why like I love like you guys follow her because you share so much too. And you vet. And so I think what we talked about earlier is, you know, if you don't have this time to vet, or you don't understand it, is following people or trusted, you know, sources that vet, or, you know what I'm saying is, so you don't have to put all that pressure on ourselves because it sounds like a lot. You know, to go through all of that, like every single thing in your life. I mean, I just imagine like how, like from your sheets to your food to your skincare to your, you know, that can be a lot.
Well, I also want to remind everybody, this is my job. I've had to do this at companies for as long as I've been in this health field for over 7 years and on my health journey. And so it was me taking my health journey and putting it into my career. And so that's why I've had the time to vet. And so I understand that not all of us have the time or the understanding of how to vet properly. And so if you can find ways or people that you really trust or things that are really important to you and align with you to vet on your own, then that's great. and it helps take the pressure off. And also understand that, nobody's a purist, It
Yeah.
is more toxic to try to live 99% to
It is.
one.
It is.
Yeah, and it really alters
It's
your
overwhelming.
mindset. Exactly. And so even if you can do, 1% or 2% better, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And so just start where you can and don't be so overwhelmed with trying to do it all at once. Take your time and start where you can.
Yeah, I love that. I think that it's not a sprint, right? It's starting with that one, okay, maybe I won't reach for stevia. Just try that. Or you talk about, vetting. Do you have any people that you could recommend for anyone listening right now that they can go follow, or any companies that, when you are making your drinks that you have your go-tos?
Yeah, so I would say for clean beauty, I really love the Organic Bunny for her products. For just like overall live healthily is also a really great store that has a good vetting process, especially when it comes to like protein and supplements and like kind of like the fitness realm. For brands that I love, I really love Symbiotica's just approach to supplements and herbs.
Yeah.
Organic Olivia has some incredible herbs that I love as well. For sparkling waters and drinks, I really love Sound. They're very pure. They use sparkling water. They have no artificial flavoring. It's all organic and no sugars, which I love. And then if you want like a functional drink that's already ready made and you just grab and go, I really, really love Hio.
I love Hio. So
Yeah.
there's Recess and all these other ones, but I just didn't resonate with their story. I love that. I'm like, I feel like I boosted myself up because I'm like, yes, I'm on the list of like something you like. And I'm like, okay, cool. Cause I love that brand.
Yeah, I love that brand and I love their ingredients. I love their overall mission as well with that company.
Yeah, I love that what you said is I've been in this for 7+ years, which is why like go slow with yourself. I really resonate with that because this can be a lot, but it's the intentionality behind it. So I'm going to not flip it, but I want to go back to talking about benefits or feeling floaty or some of the terms of when you have an alcoholic drink, you go for those benefits, but you're saying that you can have those same benefits. What does that mean, floaty? Like I see it on the drink cans, for instance, Hilo, and I'm like, oh, floaty. I'm like, are they filling me up? What is that? Like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? Why am I getting floaty? Because for me, alcohol is obvious. Like, you're literally having alcohol. Like it changes your cognitive, it changes levels in your body. Like that to me is obvious, but I just don't understand that term floaty.
Yeah.
And what are adaptogens and what does that mean? So break it down for me and those listening.
Okay, absolutely. So the term floaty is it feels like just a body buzz where your body is kind of like, it's like if your body takes a deep breath and just like kind of sits with that. And so it depends on the different types of herbs that you're using. So for example, if you want to have something before you go out, a lot of people like to pregame before they go out for the night. And so having something to help elevate your mood, to help with your cognition and your social abilities and things like that.
And energy, maybe after work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like things like L-theanine is a great...
L-theanine? Okay.
So that is, it stems from green tea.
Okay.
And so that helps. Also having different adaptogens. So like mushroom blends.
Yeah. So what's an adaptogen?
So an adaptogen works with your hormones to help balance out your hormones.
Okay. And that's for some women specifically too?
For both.
Okay. So so now you can add adaptogens. What would that do?
That will help to decrease the stress in your body. So, like especially women, we hold stress in our shoulders or in our hips and things like that.
Yeah.
And so what it does is it helps to relax the body. And sometimes depending on your dosage and also how sensitive your body is, you will actually feel like not fully removed from your body, but just kind of decompressed from your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it just kind of feels like I said, like your body's just taking like a deep breath. And so with that, it kind of gives you not really a numbing effect, but just this relaxation in your body. And then CBD also helps with that. So CBD actually helps with inflammation in the body.
Yeah.
And typically stress is inflammation in the body. And so what it does is it combats that inflammation, and it also helps to elevate that quote unquote float for you.
And so is this like a liquid or what? When you mixologist, I'm just imagining like a squishy thing where you like a tube or something and you like you put drops in.
Yep.
Is that what it is?
It is either a tincture or a powder.
Okay.
And so if it's a powder, I'll put it in like a drink and then I'll shake it. So you can have like a really fun cocktail shaker and mixing your powders with that. If it's a tincture, this is my tip. If you're out socially, I usually bring a blended tincture with me.
Oh, you do?
So, and whenever I'm out, I'll just add it to like a sparkling water with lime, and then just add a few drops of that tincture, and then it's perfect.
Yeah, and you're included, and you're not like ordering like me. I remember my first starting my like, I don't want to say that I don't drink alcohol, but I rarely do. And when I don't drink, I notice that the inclusion is not there. Like it's obvious I'm drinking a water, or it's there's just no drinks on the menu. They're full of sugar and syrups, and and so I love that you bring this tincture with you. So what's in this tincture?
So this tincture is typically a blend of different herbs that help with that specific issue. So for example, Organic Olivia has a peach juice tincture.
Okay.
That I love to bring with me. And so it helps to just bring more peace of mind.
Calming.
Yeah. And so that helps. Or if you're looking for something easier to have, like that you can get at Sprouts or Whole Foods, there's a brand called Herb Farm, and you can get rhodiola or ashwagandha as their adaptogenic herbs that are already blended. And so some of these with Herb Farm, some of the tinctures are alcohol based.
Oh, so to look for that.
So I personally am okay with alcohol-based tinctures. And the reason is because it has a longer shelf life and it extracts more of the herb's benefits.
Oh, wow.
So if it is non-alcoholic, it is glycerin-based. So glycerin-based tinctures only last usually about 6 months.
Okay.
Versus alcohol-based can last 2+ years.
And it's not like you're having an alcoholic, like a shot.
Yeah.
It's alcohol. It's preserving it.
Yeah, and it's just a couple drops. And so when I did the math on like the tincture to the actual, beverage, it's like 0.5%, which is about the same as kombucha, like normal kombucha.
Okay.
So for me personally, that's okay. But for those that are extra sensitive, you can look for glycerin-based or non-alcoholic tinctures.
That's nice. So you have this in your back pocket, and I love that. So we talk about going out in the sobriety journey of like being included with drinking, but also like the benefits. Obviously you're not being hungover, or you mentioned that you can heal your gut. So let's talk about, like you said, that you can do uppers, and you can have uppers, but you can also help your skin or your gut. So someone that does have skin issues like myself, or not as bad, but like I had acne, what are some ingredients that works for skin?
So for skin, I would say collagen helps. So there are some
powder, but there's so much out there in terms of collagen. How do you know?
Finding marine collagen really helps.
Okay.
Truvani as well as Agent Nature, both have really good ones. Another powder that you can put in is pearl powder. That really helps with skin. For herbs, I would look for valerian root. That helps with skin, as well as passion flower.
I need to have you write these all down for me, because I'm excited, because I think it's more than I love that you can have making yourself a calm drink, because there is social anxiety about I've had without drinking, or there's an upper where you're I don't like to go out because I don't have enough energy, which is why I have a drink. But then there's skin benefits. So then you went into gut. What are some things that we could add to our daily routine? Maybe it's not just at night, but maybe a digestive or things like that for someone who wants to work on their gut health with a drink. I love this aspect of I can heal myself while enjoying. Just that concept is so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say for gut, adding pre and probiotics to your system. So Ars Coso is a is a Japanese brand, and it's kind of like a syrup.
Okay.
But what it is fermented, like I think it has like over 100 different superfoods that help specifically with our gut microbiome.
Wow.
And so that's something that you could add to your gut. Adding inulin can help. Adding, different types of vinegars can help with your system. And now there are so many different types of vinegar drinks that you can have, or vinegar based syrups that they don't taste like apple cider vinegar, but they actually, they're like shrubs. So shrub is basically mixing different types of plant material into a vinegar and then making it like a tincture from that.
Yeah. I just love the, you can literally, it reminds me of a witch. I don't know. Like what's coming to mind is like, oh, I'm going to brew, but it's like you're working on yourself, right? Do you see any limitations with holistic cocktails or any drawbacks?
I would say the only negative thing that I've seen with this is when it comes to the mindset of cost. And I think that this is like a big portion when it comes to not just these types of beverages, but for health in general. People complain about the cost of health and how it's so expensive, just like organic is more expensive than conventional and things like that. And I think that comes down to more of mindset, because if you think about how much it costs to buy a bottle of tequila versus buy your tinctures and things like that, it's typically a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah. Oh, so you're saying that it is equally the same cost.
Yeah, but typically a lot of people say like, oh, well, since it's non-alcoholic, it should be cheaper. And that's not always the case, because instead of putting the money that you would towards, the bottle of tequila that's typically more expensive, you're putting it into these incredible plants and herbs and things like that that are actually going to be a benefit for you. And so it's going to last you just as long as that bottle of tequila, if not longer, and actually have the benefit for you. And so this is where I typically try to break it down for people that, yeah, you might not be exactly saving money, but you would be putting that money towards alcohol anyways. And so it's a 1-to-1 ratio.
Is there any, like, just curious about how you live and how you bring this into your life? And for us just listening, and I mean, this is so fascinating, is do you have a go-to recipe that you just go to, like I'm saying, but do you have something that you absolutely love that for someone new starting out, like this is the absolute like must? Do you have one of those, like a recipe, or do you have a drink or anything like that?
Yes, I think it is drink. Oh gosh, I think it's like drink 24 or something. It's like super early on, and it has become my go-to. But basically what it is Wild Tonic's lavender kombucha. And so what I love about Wild Tonic, it is a June kombucha, which means that instead of black tea and cane sugar, which typical kombucha is made of, this is made with green tea and honey. And so it's sweetened with honey. It does not have that vinegary taste that most kombucha has. So I mix that with a little bit of rose water, as well as watermelon juice, lime, and a little bit of CBD. And that's like the perfect drink for me.
And you just put it over ice?
Yep, put it over ice.
Isn't kombucha an alcoholic drink though?
Kombucha has 0.3% alcohol. And that's
that's why it's hard kombucha.
So hard kombucha is when they
alcohol.
Yeah, that's when they can ferment it longer. But regular kombucha has minuscule amounts, and that's just because of the fermentation process. And so hard kombucha is when they ferment it longer, and then it's typically like 5.6% ABV.
That makes, because I was like, wait, you're saying kombucha, but when I think of kombucha, I thought it was already fermented, but there's actually the 0.05, like you were saying. So we've talked about like the physical benefits of, holistic cocktails, but let's talk about the emotional side of things and those benefits. What do you see with holistic cocktails with not just physical, but like emotional balance and mental clarity?
Yeah, so let's actually talk about alcohol first for a minute.
Okay.
So alcohol is a depressant.
Yeah.
And so even though it helps, you may feel better in the mood when you're intoxicated, afterwards, you will deal with so much more stress. And your baseline is a lot lower after you're over your hump, basically.
What do you mean baseline?
So if your stress level is at like a certain level, it's pretty so let's say like you deal with high stress and you deal with high stress. And so that's kind of like your base level.
Okay.
And then when you have alcohol, it kind of like decreases that base level a little bit. So it'll help decrease some of the
Numb
stress.
it or subdue it. Okay.
Exactly. But then when you're over that and you're sober again, then your stress levels increase even higher than it was before at your base level.
Oh, really?
And then it takes longer to bring it back down. So
yeah, I feel like when I drink and when I used to like, especially when I think of like, I was in college when I didn't understand, like, I didn't have the education I have now. And like you said, it's a journey, but hangxiety, like hangover anxiety. And so that's literally what it is a spike or this increased baseline.
Yeah, exactly. And so because of that, finding something that'll actually drop that that stress level down as much as possible will help to increase your general mood. And so things like specifically the adaptogens, because it helps balance out your hormones, and your hormones help with your mood stabilizations. And so I think that if you can add that into your system on a regular basis. Also, depending on like, you talk to your naturopath doctor and make sure it's okay for you on dosage. But typically most of us can handle having adaptogens on a daily basis.
Okay.
That really helps to just elevate your mood on a regular basis. And I think that that's what we all need. And back to what I was saying before is, physical things can help alter our mental state just as much as our mental state can alter our physical being.
So you're saying that these cocktails, I mean, obviously physically, health-wise, like you can repair your gut, you can clear your skin, you can treat your eczema, right? So but the emotional is alcohol is harmful.
Yeah.
And so you're only benefiting, like alcohol is I don't know how to explain it, is more of like this instant, everything is down.
Yeah.
But when you're doing these holistic cocktails, the emotional side, is there drinks that help with emotional or mental clarity? Not just repairing our bodies, but can it help with our mindset?
Yeah. So the adaptogens that I was just talking about, like ashwagandha and rhodiola, CBD also helps with your mental state. And then, like I was talking about, some pre-blended tinctures help with that, or even just passion flower can really help with that. And that's an herb that you can get. But like I was talking about, organic Olivia's peach juice is an herb blend specific.
Peace.
Yes. Like peace out. Yeah. Like is known to actually help just elevate your mood and bring peace to your system. And then also things like anything that helps with your adrenals as well.
Adrenals, yes. Let's talk about that. Like I've just started learning about what adrenals are and like how you can actually max them out, like drain them. And that's with coffee, stress, overstimulation, drinking alcohol, So these are different ways to drain your adrenals. And so that's a big thing, is like the overstimulation.
Yeah. And so there's another blend that I love to bring with me is by Wish Garden Herbs. You can find it at most health food stores. And it is their adrenal blend. It is specifically,
literally.
Yeah. And it is different herbs to help specifically for our adrenals. Or there's a simple, easy adrenal cocktail that you can make, which is just a 1-to-1 ratio of coconut water, orange juice, and then a little bit of Celtic salt. And that's it.
Wow. I love that. That sounds yummy, actually. Rewind. What, for those, I'm not assuming that everyone knows what adrenals are. What are our adrenals and how does it affect our overall being? How tapping into like a drained adrenal is not good, but what does that mean?
So your adrenals are kind of like your body's like stress levels and your hormones. And so with that, especially like women, our hormones are very intricate. And so when it comes to that, we want to make sure that we're living a lifestyle that will help support our adrenals as much as possible. So our adrenals are the glands in our system that emits different hormones in our bodies to help regulate our stress and our hormone levels. And so for women, when we max them out, we typically deal with high stress, and in turn, it causes a lot of imbalances with the rest of our hormones. And so what we can do is we can support our body through our lifestyle, through our diet choices, to help make sure that we are bringing a sense of ease back into our body where there's more of a balance.
And so it's all, I'm hearing like there's a lot of imbalance or a lot of balancing and intentionality and research. And, I don't want to say there's an elephant in the room, but I don't want to cancel out people that do drink.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way for someone who is drinking to create a healthier cocktail for themselves? Or is there a way that someone can revive themselves? Because I don't want to say that, oh, like we're talking about, the health benefits, but there are people that do drink.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't ever want to demonize alcohol
Yeah.
because I understand why there are some moments where people do want to opt for alcohol,
Yeah.
and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
It's everyone's own prerogative. When it does come to alcohol, what I would typically opt for back when I used to drink was either biodynamic organic wine.
Which is what?
It is grapes harvested a biodynamic way. So biodynamic means that it is grown organically and with other plants. So the farming system that we have now, it is mass cropped. So it means that, we're having hundreds and hundreds of acres of just growing grapes or corn. And so biodynamic means that we're having like maybe an acre of grapes, maybe an acre of, vegetables and different fruits and things like that. So they can all grow together. And so that way it has more nutrients with it.
Okay.
And so
I didn't even know there was such a thing of like a nutrient dense wine, so to speak.
Kind of. And so what it does is in the wine process, they actually ferment it in the more traditional old school ways. So they don't add extra sugars or fermentation.
Or sulfates.
Sulfates and things like that.
Okay.
And so the thing about wine, especially in the States, is that it is not truly regulated. There's no ingredient list when it comes to wine.
Yeah, that's true.
And so a lot of times they will add extra sugars, extra sulfates. They will even add colorings to their wines and they don't have to disclose it. And so if you can find a wine that you love and that you trust, I would opt for that, or just hard kombucha.
So there is an intentionality piece in choosing alcohol too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that part.
Yeah.
And so what is your advice for someone when they are at the grocery store, what to look for or not to look for, like what to not maybe avoid, or, because there are people that drink, but how can we bring their journey full circle? How can we bring intentionality into even that piece?
So I would say that if you're at the grocery store, look for those labels that you would want to see, like biodynamic, or European grown, or organic if possible.
So if it says from Italy, does that really mean it's from Europe?
Look at the back label and see if it's grown and packaged in Italy. That I would be okay with.
And I've seen a lot of organic wines popping up on the shelves. Still look at the label too.
For that, it just depends on your prerogative. As long as I know it's organic, I'm more okay with it.
Yeah.
And then back to what I was saying, like, I think hard kombucha is easier to get organic certified. It is a fermented product. Fermentation is good for your gut microbiome. I typically would opt for that back in the day. And then if you are out drinking, with at a bar or whatever, I think the easiest alcohol for your body to digest.
Yeah, what is it?
I think is a tequila soda.
Yeah, okay. So for those that are still drinkers, it's just this intentionality piece that I'm so big on, and I appreciate you sharing, because there's different people, but if we can bring this piece of intentionality, it's just knowing what we're putting into our bodies, not trusting what we see on the shelves from laundry detergent. So I have we have a couple questions as we wrap up, but I just, when I think of starting this journey of holistic cocktails, what are some things instantly that we could start to look for on those shelves, like that we can reach for a little bit more, adding things into our daily routine? Or, stress is a big one for a lot of us, right? Mm-hmm. Stress and anxiety, you hear those terms, or depressed.
Yeah.
What is your advice? What are some tips for incorporating to help people?
I would say when it comes to actual products, getting as much as those herbs in your system as much as possible.
Yeah.
And those supplements to help regulate your body on a physical level. Because that's kind of the reason why I started it, is because it really helped with that. And I remember I was listening to a podcast, and it was when mentally I was not doing well.
Okay.
And there was a quote that one of the women said, and she was talking about how she's a big proponent of supporting these supplements and herbs and things like that. And before I wasn't. And she said, you don't know how much more you can feel until you find these things that actually support you and help you be more like a better version of you. And after that, I was sold, because a lot of our food is nutrient depleted.
Yeah.
And so finding things that add it back into our system in ways that conventional food can't really helps.
Yeah. And I think even food and even drinks is, we talk about how like non-drinking is it's excluding, but I love that quote, because you can be more you. When we think that alcohol, you can be more you because you're relaxed and numb. And no, I wouldn't say numb, and I'm not hating on alcohol, but it's like you can actually elevate yourself holistically. Like you can elevate yourself even more than you know. And so that's why I love meeting you and having you on this podcast and connecting with you, because it doesn't have to be just alcohol. Maybe you have, instead of, girls' wine night, you can have your holistic cocktail night. And I think what for me comes to mind as we've been talking this whole time is, does it really work? Because just society wise, like you don't hear it. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, it's like, does it really boost your mood? And I believe these things, like hearing that the ingredients and the types of ingredients and, specifically different plant-based ingredients really do actually help.
Yeah, it does. And I think that too, the more that you consume these types of drinks, the more that you will see the benefits as well. And, drinks like Hio, where they're already ready-made and functional,
Yes.
I feel the benefits right away.
Yeah.
And so it depends on like how sensitive your body is, just like alcohol. If some people can have one shot and be super buzzed by that, some people need like 5 before they feel anything. So same thing with these types of drinks. It depends on like your body's tolerance level, but typically you can feel the benefits. They do work. And like I said, the more that you have them, the more receptive your body is to these things.
And I think leaning into it, like it's easy to say, oh, I know wine works. I know that works. You know what I'm saying? But also equally believing in taking a different route, trying something new and learning other ways to benefit yourself, right? Because sometimes when I drink, there's that guilt of, what else is there for me, right? There's the guilt, but when I drink Hio, I'm like, I have in the moment, no guilt. Like I believe in this. If it gives me short-term, no guilt, and long-term guilt, then it's a thing that I need to do, right? So when I think of alcohol, I'm like, oh, short-term, I'm not but then there's a long-term guilt. But holistic cocktails, I love the approach of, in the moment you're helping your body and later you're helping your body.
Yeah.
You're helping your mindset now. You're helping your emotional clarity later. Like it's intentional and it's not as hard as we think.
No. And I think that when it comes to this, it's all about just opting for something else, reaching for something else.
Yeah.
And it can seem overwhelming at first, but that's why swapping is the easiest thing that you can do. If you read the book about micro habits, the thing about micro habits is opting for a different alternative instead of, like reaching for the alcohol, instead of reach for, the holistic cocktail.
Yes.
And it's not about getting rid of alcohol completely, but just changing up your habits.
Yes. Just little things. And that's what you said earlier, is this might be overwhelming, but start with one thing. You don't have to do all these 12 drinks just to have one benefit. Maybe it's looking into what collagen is, or I will be asking you for all these companies and I'll put them in the show notes for people so that they can, one, follow you, but two, like we can create a resource list. It doesn't have to be scary, but I think what I'm hearing is just start just with one thing. And it's not saying we're not shaming alcohol, but I'm here to bring you on as an educator that we have options, for the one that's been wanting to stop drinking or just drink less. Or for me, it's like, I've really been navigating completely being done with alcohol, so this has helped me get clarity that there are options that I can, get energy, calm myself naturally, that you think that would be alcohol.
Yeah.
But it does opposite.
Exactly. And so I think too, it just shows the power of plant medicine too.
Yeah.
And what nature already gives us and provides, and how when we incorporate those things into our system, how much more better we feel and how much more supported we feel through these things.
The support is big. I think that the support is huge. And I appreciate you coming on the podcast and sharing your knowledge and taking your time to explain to all of us that we have an option, that we're not alone, that there are people like us that intentionally, when we bring this into our life, we're going to just grow and benefit and share and keep evolving. So the question is, where can people find you? Do your website, or where would you like people to connect with you?
So you can find me at Holistic Cocktails on all platforms. It is just Holistic Cocktails, and then website is holisticcocktails.com. And on there, I share recipes. I share blog posts on different understandings about the recipes and the ingredients, about how it works with our bodies, and also a list of a lot of companies that I love and vet.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you so much. I'm so glad we finally got to connect after months of just waiting.
Thank you so much for having me
Thank
on.
you.
And I can't wait to hear all the feedback that people have and how just living a more alcohol-free lifestyle helps.
Yeah, we have options. I feel good with this. I'm so grateful because I didn't even know a lot of the things we talked about today in terms of, there's so much knowledge. And now you're a resource for not just me, but other people listening and in the future. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed listening to my chat with Salia today. She had such great insights to share about supporting wellness through just thoughtful beverage choices. Whether you're looking to relax more, care for your skin, or just treat yourself to something yummy, I think we can all relate to wanting to just feel our best. Salia's story proves that small changes like certain herbs in your coffee or kombucha instead of juice can really make a difference. I'm sure you walked away with some great ideas to try. And don't forget to check out holisticcocktails.com for more recipes too. Holistic living doesn't need to be complicated. Just start with what feels manageable. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode. Wishing you all the best as we continue on our wellness journeys. Feel free to share any other questions you have too. Talk to you next time. I hope today's episode left you better than when I found you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tune in every Monday to kickstart your week and set your weekly intentions with me. You can find me and HFH on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, or online at heycourtneybrook.com. I firmly believe in the power of sharing. If you know someone else who would benefit from this podcast, please share it with them. And remember, when you work on you, I get to be there.